Hi there guys, Marley Dawkins here. Just want to share a video here just to assist anybody who's struggling with the current coronavirus situation globally that's affecting all of us. So yeah, I haven't made any videos for a long time. I've had a resistance to them a little bit. So this was an interesting opportunity for me to share and see where I can assist. So first off, with coronavirus, there's so much information out there crossing all over the world currently. What is coronavirus? Well, first off, I just want to explain that viruses. Now, I was brought up by a scientist. Many of you may know this. My grandfather was a scientist, and if you ask any scientist or some of the greatest minds, some of the most intelligent people, microbiologists, virologists, ask them where viruses came from. Now, what you'll find is that no one can really give you a clear definition, 100% fact, where did viruses come from in this world. Okay, so that's an interesting thing to bear in mind first off, is that no one can really say where any viruses really originally came from, like first came into this world. So there is that. Now, this all represents a failing of our education either way you look at it. So we have not been effectively educated in science, in hygiene, in bacteria, microbes, disease, you know, what is a pandemic, what is an epidemic, what is a pathogen, a pathogenic organism. We have not had effective education in these areas. It's always inevitable something was going to happen anyway, from that perspective. And we're always going to now require an improvement in our education moving forward to ensure this sort of craziness does not happen again to us. Now, there's a lot of conspiracies out there in the world, and there's a lot of people in journalism and parts of the government, business, education, politics, that there's just all these conspiracies spiraling around. And so I just can briefly just cover a couple for you. So obviously there's a conspiracy and idea that a group, a super elite group, some of the worst of the Illuminati, that they have been funding the 5G rollout, and that this virus is like a remote control virus, which is micro radio waves, and is controlled via that means. And there is a lot of evidence to suggest that yes, 5G is dangerous technology. It can cause a lot of health problems. I mean, microwave radiation, it's just a fact. It has been used by militaries in certain governments for a long time, going back to sort of World War II. You can make someone sort of combust with certain frequencies. You can burn someone to death and all kinds of horrible things. You can give people illnesses. Microwave radiation does reduce the immune system. That is a fact. Okay. But the idea, the conspiracy, is that this has been designed to sort of kill as many people as possible, like the Georgia Guidestones, to cut us down to less than 500 million or something along those sorts of lines, yeah? You may have heard that one already. That maybe an alien invasion will be in tandem with this. A staged alien invasion, that coronavirus maybe comes from another planet, that they'll try saying that. Maybe. I mean, look, yeah, Hitler wrote about that many years ago. Maybe. Some people are saying that coronavirus doesn't even exist, and it's just being rolled out as just an excuse to bring forward a 1984 Bladerunner style type of existence. Again, maybe. These are all ideas spiraling around, yeah? That this was developed, a weapon that was developed, a bioweapon. Maybe. There are bioweapons that get made, of course. This is a capitalist money system. It's, money and war there's always weapons, new weapons being made, of course. That's something we need to change as well, and that has been a problem. So these are just different conspiracies I'm throwing out here, okay, that have been encircling various groups over the past few months since coronavirus has broken out. And, there is some relevance to a lot of the points, and there's relevant points from other certain points, there's no doubt about that. However, I do want to point out that all conspiracies, no matter how true they are, there is a danger when one gets involved with conspiracies that you start then blaming and judging other people being responsible for the situation that we're in here. Yeah? I spoke about this years ago, and many people did as well, that we're going to have sort of increasing abuse in this world if we don't change our ways, right? So I'm just going to say to all the conspiracy people, we need to relax first off. You need to... what we don't need is anyone panicking more, yeah? And a lot of these conspiracies are making people panic more. There's going to be martial law, and the police will be doing this, and the military will be doing this, that, and the other, and we're going to FEMA camps. And look, people can get very excited very quickly with these sorts of things. And before you know it, like I say, common sense goes out the window. And that's not what we need. We don't need that at all. So let's stop running around on Facebook saying this, that, and the other about whoever, getting people excited. Because it's not what we need. No one I know in any group right now can give me 100% definitive certainty where coronavirus came from. Have you noticed that? Because I've definitely noticed that. You can usually validate something by cross-referencing it across enough people, but no one can seem to do that with coronavirus. No one seems to know where it comes from. I'm suggesting now to you, though, that there was always going to be a virus that was going to occur in this world, no matter where people think viruses originated from. We have not been adequately prepared for this. We have all been subconsciously and unconsciously wanting things to stop, maybe not enjoying your job, desiring the world to change, but not directing and taking responsibility for that. I'm going to suggest to you now that perhaps the virus itself is here as a wake-up call that we didn't answer ourselves a long time ago because of how long this world's needed to be a better place. That life is standing up now and saying, well, you've had enough time. Viruses are living organisms. We'll have to accept that. This planet, life here, demanding that we change. That this virus is here inevitably from our collective lack of care, our apathy to change, our acceptance of abuse, our acceptance of selfish behavior, of reckless consumerism. That there was always going to be a virus that would come and be an equalizer. So that's what I'm suggesting to you, that this is. Because that's ultimately now what we have. We are now all equal on this. No one can escape. That's the point. It doesn't matter if you believe that Prince Charles or Boris Johnson has got coronavirus or not, or if a celebrity has or hasn't. It seems to genuinely just be going across all social classes. Rich, middle class, poor. People are just getting it. Which does suggest that there's something more than what many of these conspiracy ideas and people are suggesting, which are just, it's all these conspiracies. Again, some of the dangers is it's just causing people to want to barricade themselves in a room with as much food as possible, with guns and ammunition. And what are you going to do? You're going to just live underground, are you, in a room by yourself? We don't need anything like that. Okay? So let's get clear on what virology is, what this virus is. And ultimately now, we've got parameters, effects that are happening as a result of this. Regardless of what you feel about it, we're going to all have to get used to processing things quickly, thinking creatively, We're going to have to start supporting each other consistently. We cannot have any fighting of the government, okay? We have to understand that we are the government. We haven't understood this ever, and we need to now really understand this. The government is us. We have to take responsibility for what's going on here. Inside ourselves, inside our minds, inside our governments, inside our schools, inside our homes, inside politics, banking, all of it. It's all now our responsibility. That's what matters most, is that we do all work together now, that we don't allow this to break us. It's like, yes, I mean, the effect of there's so many effects that are happening right now. Even going to your supermarket is, you may have to queue outside. People are not trusting being around each other currently. And who knows, yes, maybe there is a conspiracy to push people to start loving robots more than humans. We can't forget, of course, Sophia was the first robot in this world to be granted citizenship in a nation in 2017, which was also the year that Bladerunner 2049 came out. But anyway, but we have to be very careful with all this because, like I say, there was always going to be something that was going to emerge in this world to slap us straight across the face. It was always going to happen that we as a society, we as a humanity, were going to have to wake up and change and move ourselves because we haven't been moving to make a better world. A lot of things are going to change. We've got to get used to changes. Don't fight changes, accept changes. Don't fear the virus. Don't fear the changes. Fear the government. Don't fear your fellow man. And what can we do now? Many people, are panicking all the time, just don't know what to do. What do we do? What do we do? There's nothing we can do. I mean, that's what's got us in this problem in the first place, is thinking that, it's out of our hands. It's always out of our hands. Our world is getting smaller. Can you see our world getting smaller? Things are going to get worse before they get better if we don't just act now. There's no time to wait anymore. This procrastination has brought us to this brink of this chaotic scenario now that we have in society. So what can we do? First off, breathe. Keep yourself stable. You may have seen your mind already going crazy with paranoias, anxieties, and ideas and imaginations and shit that's been going on over the past few weeks and months. And the longer you stay in your mind, the more difficult it is to get things done effectively. There's going to be things that will happen still that will make you react more. When those reactions occur, we've got to reduce the amount of time that those reactions then affect us. We've got to breathe, keep ourselves here, stable in this body, where we can make common sense solutions to move forward. Anytime we're stuck in the mind with our anxieties and fears and desires and judgments and paranoias and things, you start rushing and doing things without considering what's best and what the input-output is, and it's no common sense. So we've got to be breathing first and say stable. Secondly, you've got to assist people in your community. Don't try and hide from people. We have to work together now. We have to protect our elderly, our weakest, our ill, our sick. Parents, we have to educate our children. We have to take responsibility for that now. This is a reminder of that again for parents. While people working, this is a reminder that, hey, we need to make a new system so that maybe everyone can start enjoying work. We also need a new education system. We have to start taking responsibility for that. We have to use this as a gift. Ultimately, we have to make sure this doesn't break us. This unites us, brings us together. This is the time to stand together now. What matters most is unity. Support yourself. Eat well, eat good food. Be careful with your spending habits though. Don't be panic buying. Just have more common sense. We were maybe buying and shopping for a week or 2 weeks. Now, shop with a little bit longer in mind, just in case something happens with food supplies, which is a danger that could occur in some parts of the world moving forward. Have common sense. Eat good food. Exercise. Get out. Walk. Interact. Speak with people. You can, obviously things like vitamins, and you can use other support methods if you develop symptoms of, a cold or a flu or something, or, a virus of any kind. Things like hydrogen peroxide. Do your research on that. Food grade hydrogen peroxide, of course. And things like apple cider vinegar, and it's so many remedies and products throughout history. Turmeric, garlic. I mean, the old vampire story. There's some truth there. Like garlic is antimicrobial. It's it is good. It's antiviral. It's one of these sorts of things. So there's a lot of ways you can support the body. And but then, like I say, take this as an opportunity to face yourself as well. Look at where you need to adjust yourself to become a better human being. We need better human beings in the world. We need directive, intelligent, creative thinking human beings. It's that lack of direction that's got us into this problem, ultimately. So these are all just things, guys, that we've got to get moving now. We've been running out of time. I mean, for a long time. So this is a great opportunity now for us to stand equal to everything that's here and just direct it to what's best. We've got to work together now. All of us have to. And so that's basically all I want to say, guys. So if you've made it this far in the video, then thanks for watching. And I also want to just say a quick message to Boris Johnson and all the world leaders out there currently, because what you've been doing, it's sitting, like I say, it's not something a lot of people can handle in this world, being able to take responsibility for a huge group of people. You're doing the best you can, I understand, but there's a lot more that needs to be done now. And any leader in the world who's not capable of doing what needs to be done now, they need to step down, they need to be removed. More effective people need to be put in place. Mr. Johnson, if you need to take a back seat, by all means step down. I'm more than happy to step in and see what I can do to direct this country. I'm confident I can direct this country to what's best, and I'm confident many people I know can do that. Mr. Johnson, there are certain things that need to be done now in this country to avoid calamity immediately. First off, we require to have a basic income implemented immediately. This is something which has been delayed for a very many years, and it's the delay that's just gonna get worse and worse the longer we delay with this. There's been a lot of talk of basic income for a long time. It's a call of life that we all have a guaranteed security net. Yeah, that the right to be alive is not something we have to prove. It's just something that's provided and facilitated by the state. Why would the state want any citizens in the country who don't live in dignity? That is the point of basic income. It's the support network to make sure people all start from the same platform, that we all have our basics covered before we go out into the work world. Does that make sense? So that when we get paid from the work world, that can be used on things that we want to have in our lives, not our basics. Our basics are supposed to be a right anyway. Basic income is not just for virus consequences. It has been long overdue. Long overdue. So the basic income needs to be an amount people can live off too. It must be between sort of £2,000 and £5,000 per month per citizen immediately. There is no need to delaying till June or these various figures you're hearing. This can be done instantaneously. We live in a very technologically advanced world now. Money can be created out of thin air immediately and transferred immediately. All this delay, there's people getting missed of all these financial packages that are being made currently. It's complexity. Capitalism, the system we are now leaving, that we have allowed to get to this point, this complexity is a part of the problem. We're having now complex financial packages to try and cover up all the basic income's just a simple blanket that's going to cover everybody. Let's get that simplicity started now. So that's the first thing. Secondly, we need to reopen work. We cannot keep things closed, Mr. Johnson. We are creative beings. Society needs to move. We cannot pretend that, our needs, we don't just need them now all of a sudden. Like, things are still needed, regardless. We just need to improve education around hygiene and science generally. Improve our education systems. We need groups and workshops in communities to educate people and thus relax people around viruses and germs, bacteria, pathogens, how these things work. Let's stop all the negative media, the paranoia, the fear. Let's have uplifting media. Let's make sure that people are doing sort of like a minimum community support service type of a thing. We all need to come together now. All of us, all life together. So, if any world leaders are worried that giving basic income will make people paranoid or, lazy as an example, because that's always been a justification some people have as to why basic income, you shouldn't have it. It makes people lazy. I mean, that doesn't happen in any places where the trials take place, as an example. But if you're concerned about that, then just make, a minimum community support requirement for all citizens where, you get your basic income, support from the government, and then, once a week or once a month, every citizen has to prove that they've, helped a neighbour or joined a club or, you can get creative with that. I mean, so we're all feeding back in. It's a give and receive system. That's what we need to now create. An equal give and receive system. So that's just some things for you, Mr. Johnson, and all world leaders right now. We need solidarity and strength, and there's certain things we've got to just account for immediately. There's no ways around this. So, again, thank you to everyone who's watched this video to this point. And, yeah, we're all in this together. And I feel privileged to be alive now, to be a part of what needs to be done moving forward next. So let's all make sure we do our part, and just remember what matters most is that we stick together through this. We don't divide through this. We remain a solid unit through this, because it is always the unit that get things done, the group that get things done more effectively, quicker than the individual. So let's all get on the same page with this and assist each other, support each other, not spark up fear and anxiety and stress for each other. Let's not speculate on who's to blame. It's irrelevant. The virus is here. Viruses are real, whether you believe coronavirus or not. And the way we've been living life, this was always going to be inevitable. That something like this would occur at some point. This will make or break us. It's time for us to stand up as a people. That is what matters most. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about what matters most. I hope this has been helpful, and I will be looking to share more moving forward. because this is something we're all going to have to be used to now, is pushing ourselves to do things that we're not comfortable with, that we have to do though, to learn, to grow, to be better versions of ourselves. We have to let the stagnated past go. We are going to now regenerate this system, rejuvenate it, and stand as the directive principle of that. So thank you again for your time, guys. I'll see you soon. Take care out there.